Hello, this is Pete Cacciopi. I'm Chief Scientist at Opalytics, and today we'll be presenting a brief tutorial video on using Opalytics and ticdat with the LINGO modeling language. So to begin, here we are at the public repository page for ticdat. Ticdat is a Python package that can be installed in the usual way from PyPy. It's distributed under an open source license. And as you can see, we have a LINGO setup script associated with it. So subsequent to installing, if you want to use ticdat with LINGO, you have to run this setup script. And this is all for building combined LINGO Python engines that you want to run on your local machine against standalone data sources like Excel or Access. So the workflow for combining with Opalytics would be you build a two-file engine that consists of a LINGO file and a Python file. You validate it against local data sources, and then you upload it to the cloud. So let's look at the examples we have set up. Extra section LINGO. You can see we have the diet and the example. So I'll be deep diving into the diet example today. So I'll walk through the code from the Opalytics Cloud Platform, but again, these examples have been future-proofed against Opalytics vendor lock-in. So you can use the LINGO run functionality inside ticdat simply as a way for connecting your LINGO models with Python, if that's what you want to do. So here we are on the Opalytics Cloud Platform. Let's begin by building our diet instant app. So we go to the app section. Create an instant app. Now you could start writing Python code right here if you wanted to, but it's a lot quicker to just upload it, so that's what we'll do. But first, give it a LINGO application type, call it diet. Always helpful to have a nice icon, so let's select our icon. It's a very healthy looking apple there. We're going to upload first the Python file. Again, this is the same file as in the example on GitHub. And then to that, we're going to add the LNG file that has the LINGO logic. Now, if you study these two files, this is the diet example. It has these include statements for files that are going to be auto-generated by ticdat. And these are the input files that are auto-generated by ticdat. This is the output file that will be produced by this LINGO file that ticdat will parse once the solve engine completes. If you look back here at the Python file, this is really sort of the bare minimum you need to do is just define the tables and fields for the input, the tables and the fields for the solution. There's additional logic here that's technically optional, but you'll find it very useful. Specifically, you have logic here that enforces data integrity rules. So if you ever pass bad data to LINGO, you might have been perhaps a little bit frustrated with the debugging experience. So if you define these data integrity rules, then when you're running the solve routine from your local machine, just as a Python script, these assertions here fire. And if you're running your engine with bad data inside the Opalytics Cloud Platform, then you get a very nice GUI representation of where the data integrity problems are. If you look at the solve routine, it's pretty simple. The bulk of the logic happens here when you just call LINGO run. We're passing LINGO run a very simplified solution schema that only has that only lists the foods that need to be bought. And then if LINGO run succeeds, then we buff out the sort of simplified, core solution variable results with additional reports. So we also show what kind of nutrition to consume, and we compute a KPI result. So this is sort of report generating logic that, technically you might not need to do it. There's other ways to generate reports in the Opalytics Cloud Platform other than with Python. But Python is a great data munging language. So even if you don't want to use Python for your optimization logic, using Python for kind of data crafting logic, for just creating reports, that's an excellent use for Python. So now let's save it, create our solution, and we can jump back here to projects, and we can start either making a new scenario. So if I wanted to, I could go into here, say new scenario, custom applications, and select diet and proceed from there. That would be a way to build a diet model to enter the data by hand through our GUI. And because we define the schema with ticdat, this GUI is well configured to help guide a user to build the data properly. You know, it knows what tables and fields to present, and it knows the data integrity rules. It knows how to connect the foreign keys, so it knows what pull-down choices to provide. But that's time-consuming, so for the sake of simplicity, let's just build it from an Excel file that has all the data populated. And of course, in real life, people like to do kind of a mix and match. Sometimes they pull in some fields through Excel and then manually edit some other tables. They pull in some tables with Excel, manually edit some other ones. And all those options are easy to do with our GUI. So just to quickly, there's a lot of different things I could show in our GUI if I wanted to. I'm just going to quickly show how visualization works here. You can see we can make a nice, there's different kinds of charts we can make. Gives you different kind of graphical results. The one I like best is the tree map here. Let's get this legend out of the way. Now you can see this nice tree map. We can see how much, this is the sodium. You can see where the different sodium sources come from. This is protein. If you can just zoom in on protein, you can see that chicken is a great source of protein. Zoom back out. You can visualize that, chicken doesn't really, it's not a heavy hitter with sodium, but it's a heavy hitter with protein. So you can do that with input data or solution data. Let's go ahead and run our solver. So again, when the solver is running on the cloud platform, it does something similar to what it does in standalone format. It translates this cloud stored data into ticdat tables. Then it passes those ticdat tables to LINGO. LINGO optimizes, creates a report file that can be parsed by ticdat to create these ticdat-enabled reports. So you can see we have a nice KPI here to see the total cost. And you can look at the different reports to see, I'm always a little disappointed we don't end up eating chicken. But here's the foods you buy. And here's the quantities of nutrition you end up consuming. Okay, thanks for your attention. And I hope you can join me in other Opalytics instructional videos.